Greetings of the day, everyone. Welcome to the panel discussion on youth as agents of change in nation building. The panel discussion has been called upon to celebrate the National Youth Day, which is being celebrated on January 12th to commemorate the birth anniversary of Swami Vivekananda. In 1984, the Indian government declared Swamiji's birth anniversary as National Youth Day, and since 1985, it has been celebrated to honor and recognize Swamiji's teachings. Before we go further, let me introduce the pioneers of the young generation who are present here for the discussion. We have Miss Harshita Thakur, postgraduate student in the Department of Sociology, Central University of Himachal Pradesh in Dharamshala, Himachal Pradesh, India. We have Mr. Nikhil Pandey, research scholar, Department of Sociology in Mahatma Gandhi Central University, Motihari, Bihar, India. We have Mrs. Sreelakshmi, who has passed out her masters from Central University of Kerala, from Kerala, India. Miss Elizabeth, who is a postgraduate student in the Department of Public Administration and Policy Studies in Central University of Kerala, from Kerala, India. Now we will start the discussion. The first question goes to Miss Sri Lakshmi. Uh, Ma'am, please present your views on how administrative machinery could be instrumental in enabling the youth to become agents of change in nation building. What improvements could be brought about in the administrative setup so that it could work better for the youth so that they can take part in the nation building process?
Good morning, everyone. Sorry, good evening, everyone. So, uh, I would like to speak firstly about how our nation is currently in a phase where we could potentially use the demographic dividend that our country is currently the youngest, is the country having the most young population, that is the population between the age of 15 to 25, other than any other country in the world. So this is the phase that we have to utilize the phase. We have to make use of this population. We have to make them productive and make them useful for for the growth of our country. So, for me, considering the administrative area, considering the administrative machinery that needs to be developed to find out the potential of youth as agents of change in nation building in a country like India. Firstly, we have to enhance the policy, the democratic policy that we have involved in our country as the concept of decentralization, I believe. By decentralizing, by introducing more decentralizing and devolving more powers to the local government, I believe that our country can find out the best potential from the youth. We have to identify the young generation from through local government. We have to identify the young generation through the local government. Another aspect I think I have identified is that skill development. Skill is another area where we have to find out the potential from the youth. We have to uh, skill our youth population. We have to upskill them. We have to develop the skills that are present in them through potential skills that are required in our country. So, being a developing country, we have to develop our manufacturing area and the service sector, manufacturing sector and the service sector. So, both these sectors can be developed through the skill education and skill uplifting of the younger generation. So, and also, I believe that developing more transparency and accountability in the governance sector is a need of the hour in our present governance and administrative mechanism. Building more transparency and building more accountability brings more trustworthiness of the young population towards the administration as well as the bureaucracy. So the bureaucracy needs to be more transparent and accountable to the citizens. So the citizens have to gain more trustworthiness about its government. So these are the areas that I found out with respect to this administrative domain, uh, how the administration can make measures, adaptive measures for the upskilling of this generation. Hello.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much for presenting your views. Now, I would request Miss Harshita Thakur to please present your views on the
धन्यवाद।
you have to present your views uh, on how sociological change can be brought about so that youth can become agents of change in nation building.
जी मैम, यहाँ पर उपस्थित सभी मान्यगणों को मेरा नमस्कार। मैं हर्षिता ठाकुर आज आपके समक्ष समाज में कैसे युवा की एक भागीदारी हो सकती है जो राष्ट्र निर्माण में एक सहायता करेगी, एक राष्ट्र निर्माण को सशक्त बनाएगी। सबसे पहले हम इसके छोटा सा परिचय लेकर मैं आपके समक्ष रखती हूँ। युवा वर्ग देश के विकास के लिए हमेशा से ही किसी न किसी रूप में तत्पर रहा है। आज का युवा इस बात को समझ चुका है कि यदि देश के लिए कुछ करना है तो सबसे पहले जो कार्य वह कर रहा है उसे पूर्ण लगन व निष्ठा से करे। यदि वह अपने द्वारा किए जाने वाला कार्य ईमानदारी एवं ठीक प्रकार से करता है तो वह देश के विकास में ही सहयोग कर रहा है। इसके अलावा अपने घर व समाज को बेहतर दिशा देने के लिए भी उसे अपनी विचारधारा में थोड़ा बदलाव करना होगा, क्योंकि देश का निर्माण अच्छे समाज से ही होता है। युवाओं की सोच व समाज के प्रति लगातार बदल रही है। पिछले दशकों में आसानी से रोजगार मिलने के बाद अब कठिनाई सामने आने लगी है और आज स्वामी विवेकानंद जो कि युवाओं के लिए एक सशक्त नेता रहे हैं, स्वामी विवेकानंद वेदांत के विख्यात और प्रभावशाली आध्यात्मिक गुरु थे। इन्होंने सन 1893 में आयोजित विश्व हिंदू महासभा में भारत की ओर से सनातन धर्म का प्रतिनिधित्व किया था। इनका एक विचार था कि किसी की निंदा ना करें, अगर आप मदद के लिए हाथ बढ़ा सकते हैं तो जरूर बढ़ाएं। मैं कुछ विचारों के साथ आपके समक्ष उपस्थित हुई हूँ। स्वामी विवेकानंद समाज की बात भी करते हैं। वे कहते हैं कि जो सबसे निर्बल दल है उसकी हमें सेवा करनी चाहिए तथा उन्होंने सबसे पहले इसे अपनी जिंदगी में भी उतारा है। इसके साथ करियर के साथ ही समाज के बारे में भी युवा को सोचना चाहिए। समाज की महत्वपूर्ण नींव हम सभी तभी रख सकते हैं जब अपने व्यक्तित्व में अच्छे गुणों का समावेश करें। आज के लिए कुछ करते वक्त यह ना सोचे कि यह काम मैं ही क्यों करूं, ऐसा सोच रखना जरूरी है। यह भावना को अपने भीतर से समाप्त कर युवाओं को आज अपने करियर के साथ साथ समाज के लिए कुछ करने का जज्बा लेकर आगे बढ़ना होगा, तभी बेहतर कल का निर्माण हो सकेगा। आज के प्रतिस्पर्धा वाले युग में युवाओं का बचपन से जवानी तक का समय सिर्फ करियर की सोच तक ही सीमित रह गया है और समाज के प्रति युवाओं की कुछ जिम्मेदारियां भी रहती हैं। युवाओं को समझना होगा कि जिस देश और समाज में के चलते आज वह स्थापित हुए हैं उसके प्रति भी उनकी कुछ जिम्मेदारियां बनती हैं। हमें ये सोचना चाहिए कि देश तभी तरक्की करेगा जब हम देश के लिए कुछ सहयोग करेंगे। युवा होने के नाते हमें समाज में ऐसे वर्ग का जीवन स्तर ऊंचा उठाने का प्रयास करना चाहिए जो विभिन्न कारणों से पिछड़ा हुआ है। देश में प्रतिभागियों की कमी नहीं है, परंतु धन की कमी के चलते उनका विकास नहीं हो पाता है, जिनके कारण वे अपराध की ओर बढ़ जाते हैं। हमें ऐसी प्रतिभाओं को ढूंढकर उनके विकास में सहयोग करना चाहिए। चरित्रवान युवा ही देश की उन्नति की ओर सहयोग कर सकते हैं। युवा ऊर्जा से भरा युवा यदि सकारात्मक और चरित्रवान हो, देश को कोई कई नई बुलंदियों पर ले जा सकता है। वही नकारात्मक और कुंठित युवा आत्मघाती भी साबित हो सकता है। भारत में अमेरिका की संपूर्ण जनसंख्या से भी अधिक ज्यादा युवा है, फिर भी हमारा देश गरीबी, अशिक्षा, बेरोजगारी, इन सबसे ऊपर भ्रष्टाचार की समस्या से जूझ रहा है। भारत का नाम आते ही सांस्कृतिक विरासत से परिपूर्ण देश की कल्पना की जाती है। कल्पना मन में आती है, लेकिन समय के साथ साथ सांस्कृतिक मूल्यों और गिरावट आती दिखाई दे रही है। हमें इसको लेकर भी सचेत होना होगा। संयुक्त परिवार की ओर बढ़ावा। भारतीय संस्कृति की रीढ़ कहे जाने वाले संयुक्त परिवार व्यवस्था आज लगभग छिन्न भिन्न हो चुकी है। एकांकी जीवन का आदि युवा सामाजिक जीवन से मुंह मोड़ चुका है और एकांकीपन से उसे शराबी, नशा और अपराध के संस्कार में धकेल रहा है। देश से गरीबी और बेरोजगारी को मिटाने के लिए हमें विश्व के साथ कदम से कदम मिलाकर चलना होगा। और महत्वपूर्ण एक समाज में भागीदारी आती है युवाओं की, जो है मतदान में आगे बढ़कर करे अपना अधिकार का प्रयोग। आज का युवा अपनी पढ़ाई और करियर तक ही सीमित हो रहा है। उसका देश और समाज की तरफ कोई रुझान नहीं है। यहाँ तक कि वह देश को चलाने वाले नेताओं को चुनने में भी मतदान से भी परहेज करता है। जबकि एक लोकतांत्रिक देश का नागरिक होने के नाते वह इतना तो कर ही सकता है कि मतदान करके एक ऐसे व्यक्ति का चुनाव करे जो ईमानदार हो, देश प्रेमी हो। इन्हीं वचनों के साथ मैं अपनी वाणी को विराम देती हूँ। धन्यवाद।
Thank you so much for presenting your views. Now, I would request Miss Elizabeth to present your views on how youth can work for environment and sustainable growth, which could be instrumental in nation building process.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Apricus, for inviting me to this panel discussion. I'm really happy to talk about this topic, which is one of the most important and grave issues that not just our country is facing, but also the global landscape is facing, as to how youth can create substantial changes in environment and sustainable development. So I'd like to focus on one particular words here, which is Rachel Carson's famous words, which said, "In nature, nothing exists alone." So human beings cannot hope to exist independently on this particular earth, and it's very important for us to have a sustainable development with respect to environment. I believe that this particular topic of sustainability and global warming has been a topic that is limited to textbooks for the past many years, and we've never felt it that it is something of a practical problem that we have to tackle. BBC reports suggest that in the year 2023 alone, there were lots of climatic disasters which basically ruined the earth. For example, atmospheric carbon dioxide levels rose from 417.2 to 419.2. So you may ask, it's just 2 point increase. But over a period of 100 years, the cumulative effect of this 2 point increase is going to create a huge effect that we are not even right now in the position to actually fathom about. Last year, IPCC, International Platform for Climate Change, had actually warned us that carbon dioxide removal should be one of the most important arenas that every country has to focus upon. Because even if we are able to cut down big emissions, that's not going to be enough. That is the kind of dangerous situation that we are right now focusing on. What about forest loss? That was also very much huge. Planting more trees and protecting carbon absorbing systems are the only solution. But when you compare the years 2001 to 2005 to 2015 to 2019, we've seen that the forest loss is basically double the amount that has been happening. A quarter of the Amazon forest is now emitting more carbon dioxide that it is not even able to absorb. Now, that is exactly the reason why I believe this particular topic becomes very important right now. What about the heat? 2022 was the sixth warmest year in a total of all the years when we compare, and oceans were also hottest during this particular year. So, research by various organizations like Christian Aid actually suggests that we are in a dire state of affairs where if actions are not immediately taken, then I don't think there's an action that we even have an opportunity to do so. Wildfires or floods, or for that matter, any kind of climatic disasters that is affecting the environment is hitting those countries which are not even having the basic financial resource to tackle it. I've had a personal experience with respect to COP27, where I had the opportunity to represent India in the United Nations COP27, which is conducted in Egypt last year. So the particular concern or the historic resolution or decision which was taken in that particular COP was to create a loss and damage fund. So this particular fund is only going to be useful for those countries like Africa who are finding it very difficult to garner both monetary resources as well as human resources to fight their needs. So developed countries are supposed to invest a certain of their resources in this particular fund so as to make them equipped enough to deal with these particular climatic disasters. Over 14 countries were hit by climatic disasters in the last few years. I just want to mention this particular point to make sure that the gravity of the discussion, gravity of the particular idea that we're discussing is very huge. For example, wildfires in US were absolutely common in 2023. What about storms? It was very much frequent. Guam, Myanmar, Malawi, Peru. What about floods? Italy, Libya, Peru, Chile, and the list is kind of endless. So the real question as to the matter of fact is that does it affect only one particular region of the globe? No. Climatic disasters, impacts, and after effects are basically having to be evenly distributed around the globe, and we cannot actually shy away from the fact that we may not be affected by it. From a personal experience that I've had coming from the region of Kerala, which is basically the southernmost part in India, we've had to witness the great floods of 2018, which ruined most of the coastal areas in the country. I remember the particular time when my parents were stuck in the terrace of my home without food and water for like 5 days because of the flood. Climate change might not be the only reason which is triggering this, but it is one of the most important reasons. And if we don't act now, I guess time is going to be late. What about India in 2023? The Joshimath floods and the cloud-burst in glacial lakes like Lonak were recurring events that happened in the country. And what about Chennai floods that really shook all of us? So, what can the youth do in tackling environmental problems and sustainability? There can be a lot done, especially as I talked about United Nations and COP27. One of the most important observations that emerged from this COP was that of participatory climate action. Climate action cannot be limited to international summits and international organizations. It's high time that individuals like us, especially youth, put forward our hearts and soul to fight against this particular climate change. Some of these simple personalized activities that we can do includes dropping your keys, maybe taking a walk to the grocery store, converting your daily needs of single-use plastics to making more use in paper bags, creating more climate change awareness among communities, especially school, where you can really create a behavioral change among students to instill in them the idea of sustainable development and climate change, and the prospects of converting waste to wealth, which is also going to earn much revenue to the economy. So, leadership among youth is very much inevitable, and I believe there are lots of avenues and platforms that the global arena is offering us to do so. For example, internships and part-time opportunities are available in a lot of organizations, especially the green startup areas. Even United Nations is offering a lot of internships for youth to get an idea about how climate change works and what are the responsibilities of a youth for that in that matter. There are a lot of startups which have been started by youth in our country as well as all over the world with respect to tackling climate change. I'd like to mention one, which is basically Blue Power. This is, of course, an Indian example. They basically have a micro hydro solution where they're going to be creating a resilient and reliant hydropower that can be installed in rivers, and they're going to create almost 8,000 gigawatt of energy by the end of 2030, affecting or positively impacting around 20 million lives in the country. So these kind of startups have to be an inspiration for us to create our small step in this particular field so as to arrest the changes of, arrest the impacts of climate change and do whatever we can with respect to that matter of global warming. To cite a personal kind of activity that I've been involved in would be that in 2022, when Indian government passed the Plastic Waste Amendment Act, me and my mother had started a small paper bag enterprise at home where we supply paper bags to nearby entrepreneurs and shopkeepers. It was a great success initially because of the kind of impetus that both authorities and people were focusing on paper bags by reducing the use of single-use plastic. But recently, we've seen that the changes are again back and people are switching to plastics again. So again, the problem here is the lack of consistent implementation of laws and regulations. Enforcement of laws or regulations are also very important in creating this behavioral change. There are a lot of opportunities that the youth are supposed to take over, and the very reason why youth is supposed to engage in this particular issue is because of the energy and the enthusiasm that we may have, and our daring abilities to take risks. What about the examples of private companies who are also in this particular arena of introducing environmental changes? Amazon, Microsoft, Accenture, these are all companies that have been insisting in creating huge amount of environmental changes, especially with respect to carbon neutral policies and carbon emission policies since many few years. I believe these companies are also the ones who actually focus or encourage youths to have more opportunities in this particular area. There are lots of courses offered by universities like Columbia University or Arizona University in clearly programs like environmental sustainability and environmental change, which basically train youth to identify climate change and its impacts and to create meaningful, satisfiable work conditions in this particular area. So it is high time that there is talk and discussion about creating green skills in the country, not just in the country, but also globally. It is very important for us to move to green literacy and creating green ambassadors so that the particular work against climate change and arresting the impacts of global warming really take over. It is highly appreciable that India has decided to achieve net zero emissions by the year 2070. We know that we are the fourth largest emitter of carbon emissions overall in the globe. But again, because of the huge population that we have, our per capita emissions are very less. But again, it is very much supportable and appreciable that we've taken such a decision. And if it has to be possible for India to achieve such a milestone, it is important and pertinent that youth of our country actually focus in that area. And because of the lots of opportunities and avenues that are possible and available and open to us, I believe youth has to garner it and take use of it and create meaningful changes, because it is right now our responsibility to do so. And if we don't, I believe the after effects or impacts are going to affect our future generations also. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Elizabeth. It was so nice to hear from you. The best part of your discussion was that you have included your personal experiences also while presenting your views. Thank you so much. We will meet after a short break. I'll send you the link. Welcome back, all of you. May I request Mr. Nikhil Pandey to please present your views on the education setup of the country and how education could enable youth to be agents of change in nation building?
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Apricus General, for giving me this opportunity to present on the topic of nation building and involvement of youth in the nation building. Am I audible to everyone?
Yes.
I'm just checking. So, there are three terms: education, nation building, and the youth. On the occasion of Swami Vivekananda's Jayanti, we are here gathered together to present our view on the such things. So it is till now it is a very interactive session. Now the thing is, if we recall the past of Vivekananda's period and the education system in India, that time was the British period, and Vivekanand, if you see, Vivekanand traveled from Kanyakumari to Cochin, Cape Comorin to Kanyakumari to Kashmir, and from east of uh, like Assam and to Kathiawar. Kathiawar was the place where he got knowledge about the World's Religion Congress, and from there he traveled to Mumbai, and then he uh, got on the got a ticket for on a ship, from where he, if I'm not wrong, he went to USA. One thing he used to say that for the youth, he was totally focused upon the youth, and he used to say, try and achieve. His main philosophy was to try and achieve. Now the thing that what is nation building? I will come later on Vivekananda's part, but the thing is, what is nation building? Nation building at that time in the Vivekananda period was from rerouting ourselves from colonial period to spiritualism, from the menace of uh, slavery, menace of sati pratha, and such things like that. We have to build we had to build a whole nation in order to present ourselves as a spiritual leader of the world. India, he used to say that India can be the spiritual leader of the world. So how the education can play, and in the present time also, how the education can play a role in not only being spiritual leader, but also a marketing leader of the world, or educational leader can always India can become educational leader in, because India has his spirits in the process of behaviorism, which is taught by the educational processes in India. Just like that, education is not a task; it is a process. We have to not just accumulate knowledge to pass our exam and the things like that. We have to put this in the behavior of ourselves also, so that we can transcend in this educational reality into the social reality. So education and the nation building, we can say that, what if we talk about the nation building when means inclusive growth of whole India, stopping the regionalism, and promoting tolerance, promoting unity and diversity. So these are the facts which can be noted under the tree of nation building. How youth can, what part a youth can play in uniting a nation? What can he do? So the thing is there, ki, first thing, youth can be seen as a propagator of change, and in this realm of the world, that present scenario, change is like it is on bullet train. Change is happening on the daily basis. We have just passed from successfully, I can say that, passed from tragic experience of COVID-19, and many things has been changed. Educational setup has also been changed. So youth, as a promoter of change, youth can engulf a lot of diversity, much much more than the elder ones, than the older age people. Older age people are yes, they can accept change if they are well educated, and their education is engulfed in their behavior also. They can treat change as a with a welcoming gesture. But in the case of youth, it is it is it is acceptable. It can be one can believe on a youth that yes, if he is youth, he is a changing person. He can adjust. He can see the things from different point of view. That we call it uh, as a sense of critical thinking also. And because youth are welcome, youth are in that phase of age that they can welcome psychologically also whatever the change is taking place in the society. So nation building comprises of many things. Just I've just spoken about the inclusive growth, and in the field of research also, how youth youth are those persons which need, if talking practically, they need jobs. But in that case of job, how education can play a role, why with in the realm of their job scenario, in the realm of their research scenario, how it can conclude to a point which we called as a nation building. So education also creates a opportunity, which I'm talking about, the jobs for, and also intercultural changes. Just like one person from south of India travel to north of India for his job purpose and things like that, he can easily adjust there. So it is collaborative function of nation building. This intercultural exchange we can talk about, which can enhance mutual understanding, appreciation. These are the It is education. It is education which taught you about the nation building and the things like that. So on a level of we can say that by exposing students to different language, histories, values, tradition, education can help them to develop intercultural incompetence, and we can call it as a global citizenship also. So in this regard, I can cite an example of Global School Net, if I'm not wrong, founded in 1984, connects school from different countries. Not here, I'm not talking about only the different regions of a nation. This can be this is the best example of globalization of education, and connects school from different countries and of different religion in different projects which carried under the Global School Net. So talking about social justice and inclusion, it can be more peaceful and harmonious world if youth are the leader. In that sense, it can be more peaceful. So by raising awareness about the issues and the challenges faced by marginalized, oppressed groups, education and youth which are undergoing an educational process can inspire people to stand up for their rights, dignity as well, and things like that. So in order to just like the nation building is an inclusive process, and I totally understand as a student of sociology, inclusivity, tolerance, and the unity and diversity are three main pillars on which nation building can stand. There are many other pillars, just like providing good economic opportunities to student. What they do after completing their course, and these are the economic aspect of education. But what is the philosophy behind? Because Vivekananda belongs to Vedanta philosophy. Vedanta, as you all know, that it was the crux, it was the philosophy of all the Vedas. It came at the end of the Veda period, when the Veda period overs, when the writings of Veda has been done. The Vedanta philosophy, Vivekananda. So they always encourage you to get morally strong, physically strong, and most important thing was the mentally strong. And things are going, coming, and in the life of youths also, at this age, 20 to there is no specific definition about what we can call as youth. Teenager, after teenage ends 20, from the 20 to 30 is the age of youth, a youthship, we can call it as. So in the age of youthship, a student or who is after if anyone has completed his course or in a professional course or anything, he has to seek job. And in that scenario, one thing we left, that is called okay, we have studied, we have completed our syllabus, we have completed our educational processes, and we have joined somewhere and doing our task which have been given by the company and anything else. What do we The one thing that we left, that what we can do as a youth in a nation building, or not only nation building, in shaping the society. What role can we play? What impact we can make? Coming back to Vivekanand always used to say, go, search, explore, endeavor, be adventurous. And these all four terms which they used to say, or the philosophy behind them, is that it is only possible in a youthship or by youths that they can explore more. After the age of 35 or 40, you're not entitled. And even coming back to the uh, Indian ashram vyavastha, we can also talk about that. Till 25 was the age of education, and not only doing endeavors and adventures for the realm of under the realm of society. These are also for how we can create a kind of citizen of any state, or a kind of subject to any state, which can also give benefit to them. So Vivekananda's philosophy, Vedanta philosophy, nation building can only be understood as youth should be adventurous in nature. Not adventurous in nature, not by, I'm not saying that go and climb a hill or dive in a sea or anything like that. Adventures in the sense, try new things, meet with new people, never judge anyone with his looks, with his language, with his anything else. That no, it is as a student of sociology, I would like to quote Mead here. Mead was a person who talked about G.S. Mead, who talked about I, me, and id and ego. So at the time of our socialization, we are so socialized that we can be educated to the PhD level, and we can do anything in our educational process. In our behavioral process, we judge someone. It is an intent nature of human being to judge anyone. So these are not the things. We cannot control our mindset about anything. We get fears, we get things like that, and these are the pointed things which has been talked about Vedanta philosophy. Or if you Gita was also, Bhagavad Gita was also a part of philosophy, and not was the part of Vedanta philosophy which Vivekanand discussed, but Vivekanand always used to say, read Bhagavad Gita, if you know. Why he was Gita was not a commentary on a war situation. It was a commentary between two, a guru called Krishna and the disciple Arjuna. And here educational process is also going in between them. So what he teaches, do your task and the things like that. And he taught him about all the aspect of mentality. So my whole focus is that nation building is a result. Nation as building is a result of a cumulative process. A group of people who serves to society, who serves to nation. Their task is going to, their mentality, their behavior, their adventures is going to shape a nation. What they do while sitting in some part of India, if I'm doing my PhD on education, university students, and other things also, what what role it can play in shaping the nation. So this should be the main focus. And I'm sorry that I'm not much prepared about this topic. I'm very much sorry. But my whole aim was to conclude this whole session with a sense that it is the Vedantic philosophy. It is the sense of youth. Youth, that the definition of youth has a under the Vivekanand's line, it can be said that adventurous, spiritual well-being, who is physically, mentally, and emotionally stable. These are the things which are going to play a role in shaping our nation building. Because if anyone is mentally stable, definitely he will be more tolerant person. Definitely he is going to more acceptable in nature. And the role of education is also things like that also. That because education, what education do? Education do not teach you how to make a helicopter or a missile or anything. Yes, it is. Yes, it teaches, but it also delivers you. As a student of sociology, I am not going to make a missile. I am not going to uh, put some one chemical from one beaker to another and mix it in a solution and do something for nation. But what I can do if I joined as a professor, or I joined as I started my career as a scholar, the essence of religion, that yes, these are the issues on women, the issues on transgender, the issues on changing contours of gender also. If I'm not going to accept all these things, if I will be like no, I am very strict, I cannot do these things, I will not indulge in this is not going to save the nation, because at that point of time when the things comes as a wave, we have no theories about that, we have no solution about that. So from a point of researcher point of view, as a student of social sciences, I will conclude by this session by saying that to be more mentally acceptable, to be regardless of any disability or anything which you are not acceptable to you, accepting every citizens as equal and performing your duty very well is the essence of Vedantic philosophy and is the essence of education also. The process of education. I'm talking about the behavioristic, what behavioristic result of education in a student or in a youth. So these are the quality which can be uh, which can be attached to youths. We are not going to say that, oh, older people are going to change. Yes, they can change the nation. Yes, they will. They have done their task. But as a youth, as a student of sociology, as a student of social sciences, just like I would like to say one more thing. Just like in 19th century, Marx sees that the industrial revolution was the main point behind the death of infants, because in industry, woman works for 18 hours, 12 hours, and they are not well fed, they are not well nurtured for their pregnancy period. And Marx derive all those meanings of industrialization and wrote upon this. Same way, it is the environmental issue, I would like to say. It is the environmental issue on which we have to do work, on which we have to theorize, on which we have to do researches, on which we have to write our paper about the essence. Because mm, it is not a single day process to change the mentality of everyone or anything. And we are not that much able, not as such a scholar. It is the syllabus, it is the educational process which will change the our intention toward the environment. Yes, we know that climate change is happening, COP meetings are happening, and many things, Paris climate change is happening. But what is the result of that? And it will not come in single day. I don't know that the institute, countries like USA and Russia have a foolproof plan on how to tackle the climate change. Yes, they have the philosophies, they have the process, that they have the target that by 2050 we will achieve this, by 2030 we are going to achieve this. But it it will emerge from the mindset of individual, mindset of the youth, which are going to the citizen of that time. By 2030 we will be some 30 years old or something like that. So what will we do? What will be at that time? Is we are that much able, that much critical to see that future also or not? And this is the part of, this is the responsibility of our education process. So these are the things uh, by on which I am presenting. So thank you from my side, and thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for presenting your views in such an elaborated way. On behalf of the team of Apricus Journals, I extend my heartfelt thanks to all of you for taking part in the presentation, and I hope your thoughts will enlighten the minds of our audience, and it will encourage us for our future events. Thank you so much, all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.